Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. I'm Aaron Snyder, and this is Matthew Sparks. We're here at Luke Varney Jr. Memorial Stadium at Lawrence County High School.
Better known as the Dog House.
The Dog House, where Fairview is going to take the field on Friday night. And we'll get to that game here in just a little bit. We're going to get to guest Joe Cecil, the head coach of the Bulldogs, Luke Schaefer, the tight end, and Cole Mosley, the running back, here in just a little bit as well. They'll be joining us on the HTPT set right in front of the Dog House. So that'll be good. HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. If you want to check out the Chick-fil-A ticker on the bottom of your screen, you'll see the games that are upcoming this week, some really good matchups, and also a recap of week 2. So far, Matt, I mean, just so many things that you can pinpoint, but what out of this season, just 2 weeks into it, we're early, but what is one thing that really jumps out at you so far? It could be a surprise, could be anything, whatever.
I'll just say all the great athletes we got in this area for football. We got just standout performances. Anywhere from Cash Daniel to Antoine Washington, Quentin Baker, of course. I mean, all the great players that we got here in this area, and they were on all full display last week.
Yeah, they really were. I always this time of year get amped up for fantasy football as well. And you start thinking about what would your fantasy football team look like if it contained high school football players from northeastern Kentucky. It'd be a pretty good team, wouldn't it?
Oh yes, it would. Exactly, it would. I'd probably call my team Cash Daniel.
You'd have to draft him first.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, that'd be a no-brainer.
I don't know. I might go Quentin Baker.
Okay,
that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
You got great offense. I'll have some great defense. Might be a 7-0 game or something.
You know what's fun? The most fun about fantasy football is picking your team name.
It is.
And my team name is Andy's Ball Bouncers.
You want to explain that one?
I'm going to have to explain that one. Okay. It has nothing to do with Andy Dalton, even though I am a Bengals fan. It has something to do with a particular cross-country track coach who repeatedly called me by the wrong name. He called me Andy about every time he greeted me, and it was quite hilarious, so I never corrected him. And there was this one time that I entered this cross-country event at this school, an unnamed school, and this person greets me with a, "Hey Andy, I don't see any balls bouncing around. What are you doing here?" Well, I'm thinking, so he's insinuating that the only thing I cover involves something that has to do with a ball. But the irony of it was I was at a cross-country meet.
You're already there.
Yes. So Andy's Ball Bouncers, that's where there's the backstory right there, Matt.
It's a great name,
well,
by the way.
Great
name.
You could go with a classic name like sports writer Rocky Stanley, Steel Curtain. That's been his name since, I think, before the Steel Curtain was around.
Well, back to my Cash Daniel, my nickname in high school was Money, so that would be like an obvious choice.
Of course.
So I'd probably go with that.
Okay, I didn't know if you might incorporate a Larry Bird reference in there or not.
Well, that's basketball.
Okay, basketball, I'm sorry. Well, you're basketball all the time.
Well, not right now. Right now it's football time right now.
Speaking of footballs, let's get one.
Okay.
Let's talk about game balls. My game ball this week is going to, here's an easy choice, Quentin Baker. This could be the choice almost every week, so we'll try not to wear you out with that. But, I mean, he had 18 carries for 248 yards and 4 touchdowns against a pretty quality defense in Raceland. We were at Raceland last week. We talked to Coach Sammons. We talked to Isaac Wallace and Carson Christian, and we knew that the Ashland game would be a tough game for them. You picked the Rams. I had to go with the Tomcats because I thought the Tomcats defense might be a little better, which it was. The rush defense was excellent, but Quentin Baker was the biggest difference. He's going to Marshall for a reason. He showed several reasons on Friday night.
Yeah, I want to thank you for pointing out that I picked the wrong team last week.
Sorry.
I really like that. Well, my game ball goes to, I think, another easy choice. He's going to be playing right here on this field Friday night. Antoine Washington from Fairview. He's really busted out the gates really fast here this season. He had 4 total touchdowns against a pretty good Hazard team last week. And my game ball goes to him mainly because of his big pick 6 during the game. Really momentum shift in that game. 90 yards, took that to the house, and I'm going to give it to him.
Fairview's been a surprise this year. They're 2-0 heading into this game, and maybe, just maybe, Fairview Lawrence cracks into our top 3 games of the week.
Antoine, he's a small in stature, but he's like a big play guy. really becoming a big threat on both sides of the football now.
Let's move on to our top 3 games of the week, and this is in no particular order.
Pitch that out to the running back.
Fumble.
Yeah.
This is in no particular order this week because there are so many good games to choose from. We couldn't rank them.
A lot of good games.
Let me just fill you in real quick. Here's 2 games that we're not even including in our top 3. Russell Ironton. We're not including Russell Ironton, which is going to be at Tank Stadium, and then we're also not including Lexington Catholic and Johnson Central, which should be a dandy at Lexington Catholic. So Central getting a quick challenge, aren't they?
Yeah, really, probably a good early season test on the road for them. It's really good to see that they're playing some more in-state schools, not early in the season, not teams from Canada. They play teams from Canada, from Indiana, from North Carolina. A really good test for them, I think. But I think with the players they got, I think they can handle it.
I think in Canada they play with 12 men on the field. So how does that translate?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You look at Ironton Russell, though. We mentioned that Ironton has won 17 straight meetings in that series. I think 1977, I believe, was when Russell got their last win. But the Red Devils might have a chance. They're coming off a nice win over Greeno.
Yeah, two pretty good defenses coming in here into this game. Iron last year handling Russell pretty good, 36-9. A lot of that offense, I think, comes from Tristan Cox. He's not there no more, but the 3 running backs are still around.
That's right.
The Iron rushed for 261 yards in that game, and I think they may have a good rushing game again this year. I think they make it 18.
I like to call them the 3 tough amigos.
There you go.
Those guys are tough. Well, look what we're doing here. We just expanded the top 3 games of the week to top 5. Look at us.
Well, it has to be top 5 this week.
Yeah, we cheated.
Too many good games.
We cheated this week. Paintsville at Pikeville. A 78-point turnaround last season. Derek Pugh, though, for Pikeville is lighting it up. That 78-point turnaround was so impressive last year when you think about that again. Pikeville just, laid the hammer on Paintsville at the beginning of the year, and then Paintsville turns around and eliminates the Panthers after not losing all season. They lose 30-6 in that game. But this year so far, Pikeville's running back, Derek Pugh, has been lighting it up.
Well, I think lighting up might be an understatement. Already 2 games, 478 yards, 8 touchdowns. Paintsville's defense really stepped up in that regional semifinal last year because Pugh last year in the regular season matchup where they won 62-8, 150 yards and 5 touchdowns. Of course, I think the defense has really stepped up for Paintsville, especially last year. I think Kent Phelps adds a new dimension to that. He was a running back, didn't play last year. He can add a new dimension to that offense. And I think Paintsville comes out on top. A close game. It's
going to be close.
Yes.
I mean, because there's so much more than what's between the lines in that game. It's one of those classic rivalries. There's got to be a lot of trash talk this week.
Classic southeastern Kentucky rivalry. I think Pikeville has had a lot of months to think about that loss. It was at home.
Yeah.
They were 11-0 coming into that game. They had their sights set on Bowling Green and just ran into a buzzsaw in Paintsville that night.
I think Pikeville comes into Paintsville and gets a little revenge, but there could be a rematch later on. Who knows what could happen throughout the season. Now let's talk about George Washington at Ashland. That'll be at Putnam Stadium, and you look at I hope I'm pronouncing this name correctly, but for GW, Dakeem Miller. He's known as Nunu. Watch him whip, watch him Nunu. All over the field. 188 rushing yards.
I have no idea what you just said.
You never heard the song?
No.
Watch him whip.
No, I'm 41.
Watch him Nunu.
I'm 41. I have no idea what that means.
Well, it's actually Nene, but we're going to go with Nunu. That's his nickname.
Well, I have heard that song in many of the games I cover.
Oh, okay.
So the young kids seem to like it, but I have no idea.
I was going to say.
I haven't named in years, so I don't know exactly what you're.
I don't even know what it means.
Yeah, me either.
My daughter does though. She knows the whole routine. She's 5. But the routine on Friday nights at Putnam Stadium is typically Ashland's gunning for a win. But a tough schedule, including GW. GW has made a very nice series out of this the last few years, and it's nice to see that continue on. It's nice to have that West Virginia, Kentucky thing going on. I like GW in a close game. I don't think they stop Quentin Baker, but I think they find some other ways to maybe expose some of the, I'm not going to say weaknesses because I don't think Ashland has a whole lot of those, but maybe just a few of the softer spots possibly that Ashland might have. It's early in the season, so I don't know what those soft spots might be yet, but all I'm saying is when you looked at that Raceland game, they were able to throw the ball a little bit. If GW is able to throw the ball some, will Ashland's secondary be up for the task?
Yeah, GW has from what I read in the Charleston Gazette this week, they have a pretty balanced offense. Had two rushers to rush over 100 yards against Parkersburg last week,
including Nunu,
Nunu, whatever. And had two quarterbacks also throw for a touchdown pass. So, but you know, they faced the Big Red last week. This week they faced the Big Maroon. And I learned my lesson last week about picking against Quentin Baker. I don't know if I'm going to do that again. But, you know, Ashland's got to find a little more diversity and a little balance in that offense. They got a new quarterback. You know, he's kind of, you know, trying to earn his way there, you know, trying to get acclimated to the offense. Only threw one pass last week. I think they got to throw a little bit more in the air maybe this week. Been a good series. I think it's a close game again. I'm going Tomcats.
You're going Tomcats, okay.
Yeah.
So we've split on the first two. Are we noticing a trend here? This is what happened last week too. Okay, and then lastly, right here, Fairview at Lawrence County. Fairview is coming off a surprising 44-20 win over Hazard. Lawrence County lost to Montgomery last week, 28-14. High-powered offenses with great skill players going at it. And last year in Westwood, it was 29-25, the Dogs, because the Eagles couldn't convert in the red zone. They really had trouble, and then a lot of that credit goes to Lawrence County's defense. But what do you expect in this one? I mean, I'm going to go ahead and make my pick. I'm going to say Fairview. I'm riding the Eagles.
I think someone wants to throw you a bone here. I'm telling you. I think Lawrence County's defense is maybe even better than last year. I think it's going to come down to defense, because this, you know, this game has a chance to score in the 70. You know, both teams combined for 70 points or more. Two really talented offenses. I think that turnovers are going to really play a key in this game. And I think the defense of Lawrence County is a little bit better than Fairview's. I'm going Bulldogs. I'm going to stay in the doghouse.
You got a bark in you?
Yeah, I'm going to. No, I don't know. No barks in me.
Okay.
But I usually stay in the doghouse, so I'm going to keep staying. I'm going to stay right there. I'm going to pick Bulldogs.
Well, as former Lawrence County coach says, it's the only show in town Friday night in Louisa at Lawrence County, Fairview, Lawrence County. This place will be packed.
It will. It definitely will.
Joe Cecil coming up. We're here at Luke Varney Jr. Memorial Stadium at Lawrence County High School with Bulldogs coach Joe Cecil right here in the opening of the doghouse. Coach Cecil, thanks for letting us come down here and invade your territory for a little bit.
Well, it's a pleasure having you guys. I look forward to this. When you texted me last week, I was pretty excited about you being here. I saw Coach Salmon, so I know you're going out. So real excited about you guys being here.
Now, did Coach set the bar too high? Or?
He set pretty high. That's why I had to dress up a little bit today. You know, I had to try and lift it up a notch.
Well, you outdressed me, so making me look bad here. Coach, you know, it was kind of funny. I ran into you, the whole sports staff ran into you at Great American Ballpark back in April at a Reds game. You know, Rocky Stanley, Zack Klemme, and I, and you're like, well, who's in the office today?
I wonder if Mark knew where you guys were. I think I asked that day because we were on the escalator, and I go, that's all the guys from the Ashland. And I said, boys, what's going on here? You know, we're getting a day off. And we actually got to take our CCR kids, our college and career ready kids. It's a trip we've been doing for several years. And it's an exciting time. Our kids like it. We drive a bus up there. We feed them at the park. Great American Ball. Cincinnati Reds do a great job giving us some nice stuff, and it was really a neat time. It was good to see you guys there. But if only the Reds could have pulled it out.
I know, yeah. They lost 8-3 that day. I remember that one vividly, and then the losses kept piling up. You've been keeping up with them still?
Well, I did for a while, and you know, as you said, the losses just kind of started piling up, and I've not been as much as I was the last couple of years.
And you're trying to worry about wins on this field right now.
Well, you know, we got a few other things that are pressing right now, so we're trying to focus on football.
You know, coming off of a 28-14 loss against Montgomery County, you guys are now standing at 1-1. Did have a nice win over Boyd County to start the season. That Montgomery County game looked like, you know, they were able to pass on you a little bit. We just talked about that. You know, they broke a tie there with a tip pass that you guys were in position, but they made the play and scored the touchdown to go ahead. and then you guys had a costly turnover that they took advantage of as well.
We talk about this a lot in our program, that when games are pretty close like this, it's probably going to come down to 4 or 5 plays that dictate what happens. We don't know when they are. We don't know when it's going to play, but we must make sure we're playing hard. And I was really happy that our kids played hard, even in those situations. It wasn't lack of effort. We just didn't execute. So we're trying to fix that. It was a good challenge for us. We know where we're at now. We know what we got to work on, and we'll just continue to try and get better every day.
Montgomery County, they had some success, like I said, in the passing game. They had over 200 yards according to the KHSAA statistics. Is that a concern for you guys going into the Fairview game? Fairview puts up a lot of passing numbers as well, as you know.
They do, and it's a different kind of system. Roy can throw it anywhere. So we saw a very similar quarterback, gave us something to look at and prepare for. Their receivers and their skill was a little bit different. They had a big fullback, and they were much more, they pound it and then try and beat you on play action, and that's kind of how they got some of their bigger plays on us. We were in position. I mean, we blew one coverage and gave up a touchdown early in the game, but for the rest of them, we were pretty much in position. Their kid just made a play when we didn't. They got us on a reverse pass one time too. That was one we weren't in position for. But for the most part, we were there. We just got to make plays. You were asking me about the difference. Fairview screens you to death, and Washington and McIntyre and those guys do a great job once they catch the ball, is making yards after catch. So those are things that we've got to focus on and make sure that we're ready for.
Mm-hmm. And hitting the right angles on defense is kind of the key there too, isn't it? And then containing for the linebacking core.
It's really a challenge offensively, what they do with how they spread you, and then not only do they throw it well, but they run it well, and even Roy's doing a good job running the ball this year. I'm not sure I've seen him get tackled a couple. It seems like every time he runs it, it's a touchdown. So he's a nice player. He's 6'4", 220. He's legitimate. I'm not sitting here, but I don't know if you're a college coach. I don't know why you're not looking at this kid. He's a pretty solid player, and he's got a lot of good skill around him. Coach Ray's done a good job there.
Well, how about your team? What about college football in the future for some of these guys? You got some talent here too.
We're real excited about our talent, and it always starts probably for us with our quarterback and Grant, and that when we run the option, and he's been a great dual threat. It's not just option and running the ball. He's thrown it well for us too, and we've got a lot of guys that can make plays. We're a little banged up right now. We lost a couple of our backs to some injuries, but we've still got enough skill that we feel like we can get the ball on the edge. Obviously, you got guys like Timmy Dalton and Cole Mosley, Luke Schaefer. We've got several, Brandon Richardson. I hate starting this because usually I'm done, but this year we have so many. I didn't mention Austin Chaffins. Those are Jordan Johnson. Those are kids that have some ability. We just got to continue to do a good job of getting the ball spread and getting it to where we can get it, where we can make plays.
Cole Mosley and Luke Schaefer are going to join us here in a little bit. You said you coached their older brothers as well. You've been coaching here for 15 years now.
Yeah, I've been coaching here a while. So I didn't realize that. This is my 5th year being the head coach, but I've been at Lawrence County for 15 years. So I'm kind of excited. My daughters are diehard Bulldog fans, and my youngest daughter, she's maybe a fanatic. So and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud to be a Bulldog. And when you coach brothers and coach siblings and things like that, it's something special. And we talk to our kids a lot about, in this community, it's probably football's a little bit more than just football, and so that means something here.
For sure, it's a tight-knit community too. Talk about your daughters a little bit. You said they're freshmen, sophomores. What do they usually do during the games? Are they cheerleaders or? They're
not cheerleaders, but they cheer a whole bunch. And I'm blessed. Lord's blessed me. I've got 2 very intelligent daughters. Both of them are academic team, very, very strong. Had one actually win the Governor's Cup, and had another one score, be in the top 10 in 2 categories her 8th grade year. So I'm proud of them. I'm a proud papa when it comes to it. But on Friday nights, they're big Bulldog fans. I was blessed to have a mom. She's since passed, but she was a big cheerleader too, and I think they're following in those footsteps. And that. They enjoy Friday nights here.
When it comes to Northeastern Kentucky football, you know a lot about it. As far as your history goes, before you came to Lawrence County, you've been at East Carter. So, just as far as the area goes, how strong is football now in this area?
You know, when I look at the teams, I'm not talking bad about the previous guys, because it's not that. I just think what's happened in Kentucky, and particularly across the state, is coaches have gotten better, and not that they were bad. It's just they grew with what the changing times. You know, I can't remember. It was one of the UK assistants has gone. It might have been the guy with the Steelers, Mike. Can't think of his linebacker coach, but he talked about leaving and coming back, and how Kentucky coaches had really grown with the time and changed some of their, you know, their practicing and some of the schemes. And if you look, a lot of what we do resembles what you see on Saturdays and even possibly some Sundays. So, you know, I just can see a growth in football, not only in this part of the state, but the entire state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have to ask you about this because he was such an impactful person in this community, and you know the sign that we see as we come onto the field here at Lawrence County is you know, Coach Phil Ratliff. You know, the sudden passing last month, you know, it really jarred this community, didn't it?
It still does, you know, and when you talk about this community, I mean, you know, got 2 of his nephews that play for me, work with his sister and brother-in-law. His other brother is obviously a father, and he drives a bus for the school sometimes. I mean, Phil's parents are strong community members and leaders in this area, and I mean, it really shook our community. One of the things that, you know, came out of it is just what an overall great person Phil was. And, you know, there wasn't too many people that could say something bad about him. I was blessed to get to coach against him when he was at Lawrence back in the 90s, and we became friends through that venue, and it just grew over the years. And when I came here, it just even grew more. So Phil was always one of them guys. It didn't matter where you saw him. And you know, I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple national conventions, the American Football Coaches Association, and you'd bump into Phil, and it didn't matter who he was talking to. He'd give you some time and talk, and you know, talk about here and what's going on. So it was a big loss, but you know, we know he's in a better place, and we're just going to trust God in that one.
Yeah, and you know, he will never be forgotten. His impact won't be forgotten.
No, it won't.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck against Fairview this Friday. We're going to get Cole Mosley and Luke Schaefer on here.
All right, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. All right, next HTPT guest is Luke Schaefer, the tight end for Lawrence County Bulldogs. Luke, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Right here at the opening of the dog pound. What's it like when you enter this field? You know, you come through the dog house, and you know, you hear the cheers from the crowd. What's that do to you?
It's really exhilarating, honestly. You know, I'm usually the first one that breaks out of the tunnel with the American flag, and just, I don't know, hearing everybody screaming, both sides. I mean, people going wild over here. It's just the greatest feeling on earth, really.
So far, you guys are 1-1. You know, coming off a loss against a 5A team, Montgomery County, a legitimate team. Mm-hmm. You had a win over Boyd. Heading into a tough opponent with Fairview coming in here on Friday. How do you feel about where this team stands right now?
I feel like we have a few things we need to work on, but what team doesn't really? Sorry, I feel like we still. I mean, we're there. You know, we're not completely there, but we're making progress. We're still moving forward. Got some things we need to work on. We're growing though.
One of the things that Coach Cecil told me before the season is that you're one of the best tight ends that he's coached. You know, whether that be, you know, you're blocking or catching or whatever you're doing. You know, how does that make you feel to hear that from your coach?
Just makes me proud of myself knowing that all the hard work that we put in through the off season and during the season, that shows that actually pays off, and you know, our coach would actually compliment me in that way. So it's pretty good. I mean, it feels good knowing that.
Who's your favorite tight end? Do you follow anybody in the NFL, college? Anybody in particular?
I'd say my favorite tight end probably have to be. I really don't watch tight ends that much.
Okay.
I'm more of a college person, but I don't really, you know, you don't see the tight end used too much in college anymore.
Right. Who do you follow in college? Who's your favorite team?
Kentucky.
How are they going to be this year?
Oh, they'll be great. Yeah, that's what I think, at least.
8, maybe 7 or 8 wins even?
I see a bowl game.
There you go.
That's what I see.
That's what you got to shoot for a Kentucky fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tough schedule with SEC for sure. Now, would you rather be catching out there or blocking out there on the field?
Whatever is easiest to get the win. It's the only way I can put it. Because, you know, you can't be too selfish on offense or any side of the ball. It's a team sport. So what Coach Cecil expresses to us, just about every day of practice, you're either the star or you help the star.
Now, your older brother played on this team.
Yes, sir.
What year did he play for Lawrence?
He played from 2008 to 2011.
Okay. So how much did you kind of watch him? As you're growing up and becoming a football player, and looking forward to the future on this field. How much did you watch him and some of the other guys that you looked up to?
Oh, every day or every Friday night home games, I'm sitting right over there close to the band section, watching my brother from his freshman year to sophomore year. He was on kickoff, special teams, and that's where I really started watching him. That's when I really started to get into the game. I'd played football, but that's when just watching high school football, watching my brother play, just really got me excited for it.
So obviously, you played football on the field for a long time. Do you play fantasy football at all?
No.
No fantasy football?
No. I've been asked to do it a few times. I just never really interested me.
Okay. What's your favorite subject in school?
Be honest with you.
Besides football.
I'd probably say my carpentry class. I mean, if that counts. But unless
Sure.
you mean like a core class, then I probably have to say history.
Okay. So have you thought about it? What are future plans after high school?
Hopefully attend 4-year college or enlist in the military.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. Good plan. So, all right, Luke. Well, thanks for joining us, and I want to wish you good luck on Friday. Fairview's coming in here. What do you think about Fairview? I wanted to ask you about that. That was a close game last year, 29-25. You guys survived.
Very close game. We barely held on. I mean, we're gonna have to change a lot of stuff up defensively. Instead of playing north to south, it'll be a lot of east to west, sideline to sideline play. So, I mean, Alex Roy, he's a great quarterback, probably one of the best around this area. Antoine Washington, fast guy. I mean, they got a few kids that can hurt us pretty bad if we let them. So we're just gonna have to execute where it need to be.
All right. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Here with Cole Mosley, senior for Lawrence County Bulldogs. Running back is what you're mostly known for. You go out there, and a lot of times it's not uncommon to see you rush for 150, maybe even close to 200 yards. That first game, I think you had over 170 yards against Boyd County. So first of all, I wanted to start with that game. What a way to start off the season personally for you. How did you feel about that performance?
That was a great game for me, especially about 2 hours before the game. I was in the nurse's room throwing up, sick, but I got over it and got to play, so I'm pretty happy about that.
So you were sick. Was it like a bug or nerves or?
I think I don't know if something was going around school or something, but I was just throwing up real bad. Felt sick to my stomach, but other than that, I was fine afterwards.
Wow. Coming off a loss against Montgomery County, how do you guys bounce back this week? What's the key?
Oh, hard work. A lot of hard work, especially on the little things.
That Fairview game last year went down to the wire. It was 29-25. You guys won. You were one of the stars of the game. You had some key plays, went over 100 yards rushing. What do you remember most about that game?
Something that's not good is I fumbled on the goal line, which bothers me still, but just playing hard. It was a hard game.
It was, and you made up for that for sure. I got to ask you about your hair. Last year when I talked to you after that game, you didn't have all that going on.
Nah.
So what made you grow it out?
Just me and number 5, Zach Z, just said let's grow it out. I'm regretting it still. It's hot.
So when are you going to cut it? Do you have some kind of
after season?
Okay. So you got the agreement with Zach. You guys are going to not cut it until after the season's over.
Yep.
All right. Well, maybe you'll be playing into December and the long hair will pay off and keep you warm. What about your favorite non-football activity? What would you say that is?
Probably just hanging with teammates mostly. Just outside of school, just over at Grants or something, just hanging out.
Okay. A lot of seniors, a lot of leaders on this team, isn't there? How do you think that experience could maybe pay off for you guys?
We have a lot of people that's played all 4 years, and just having that experience and just everybody knowing what to do, I think it'll help us a lot down the road when we have like better teams and harder teams and colder weather. It's just going to pay off knowing what we are getting into.
Obviously, the mountain at the end of the season, what you want to climb is beating Belfry.
Yeah.
That's the goal for you. That's the ultimate goal for you guys here at Lawrence County. How do you stay focused on the task at hand with that kind of looming?
Just hard work, and coach every day says district championship focus before practice, and we just got to keep that focus because we know who we have to beat to get to the next level, and that's Belfry.
All right, let's talk about the classroom a little bit. What's your favorite subject in school?
Oh, math.
Math.
Easily.
What kind? Algebra, geometry? What?
Don't matter. Just
Doesn't
any
matter.
of it.
All right. Have you gotten into any calculus or anything like that yet?
Not really. Just mostly just.
Once I got there, I couldn't figure it out anymore.
Oh, I haven't got there yet. But
What are your future plans? What's gonna happen after you leave here? Not that you want to think about that too much. You want to enjoy the season, but
hopefully attend college and go into sports medicine.
Sports medicine. Okay. Very good. All right, Cole. Thanks for joining us, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Back here on HTPT, here coming at you from Lawrence County. We're going to finish off with 2 for the road. Matt, take it away.
Well, I don't know if anybody's aware, but volleyball is in full swing now, and I saw maybe one of the better teams in the region this week in the Russell Lady Devils. Very tough district, the 63rd district in volleyball this year. 3 teams with 10 or more wins. They're playing to the 3-2 games. But Russell really shows signs that they could be the front runner this year. Emma Ison has got a cannon for a right arm, and maybe they're about to take Rayson's place for a region championship this year.
Wow, it's going to be an interesting season, 63rd district, because Lewis County and Greenup County are not too shabby either.
They are not. They are not.
All right, shifting gears then to boys soccer in 16th region. It's wide open. It's wide open this year. The net is wide open. It's up for the taking. There's a lot of parity. Boyd County is the only team so far on the young season. I mean, most teams have only played 5 or 6 matches so far. Boyd County is the only team that hasn't lost yet, but they have drawn a couple ties. But a couple of the reasons for that, you look at Zach McConnell and Tanner Evans are kind of leading the offensive charge for the Lions, and Matthew Ferguson as the goalkeeper has allowed only 2 goals in 5 games. So Boyd County Soccer might be a team to watch. I know you're going to see, this is filmed on Wednesday, so you're going to see Rowan County and Ashland Thursday night, and we'll see what those 2 teams have. Rowan County is obviously the defending champion.
A lot of great athletes on that Rowan County team. I'm excited to go see that game.
That probably is the team to beat if you had to pick one.
I think so.
Okay, I want to offer up some thanks again to Lawrence County for allowing us to invade their field here at Luke Varney Jr. Memorial Stadium. Once again, Fairview will be here tomorrow night for what should be a showdown, good matchup. I want to thank Joe Cecil for joining us on the show, Cole Mosley and all his hair, and Luke Schaefer as well. They did a great job, and we always enjoy interviewing the kids. That's one of my favorite parts of HTPT is getting these players on here and getting the readers, viewers, time to get to know them a little bit.
Exactly.
Thank you to Chick-fil-A for providing us some nuggets. Steve Barfield and those guys over there, they do a great job, and it is their pleasure to serve you.
Right.
From Matt Sparks, I'm Aaron Snyder. As always, HTPT is sponsored by Fan and Automotive Family. We'll see you next week.